Hi there. This is Leslie Rogalski, Creative Director for the BeadSmith, with today's Facebook Live. What fun these are to make. These are the Sitia Diamond Earrings by my friend and partner in crime, Leslie Pope. Ooh, I have to tell you, these are really lightweight to wear. We're showing them here in the 4 different color metal finishes that cymbals have. So we have rose gold, gold, antique brass, and antique silver. And these are fabulous stash busters, I'll tell you, because you can see you only need a few beads. Each pair of earrings only needs 32 size 15s, 4 true 2 fire polish, of course a pair of the Sitia ends, 10 gem duos, 8 kite beads, some Fireline. I like 6-pound size 12 needles because we got to get through those little 15s, scissors or thread zap, and if you need pliers to work jump rings if you want to add a little length to your earrings. I just hook my ear wires. I'm a fan of these really simple little ball end hooks, and I just string them right through the Sitia loop. The Sitia has a loop at the top, so you can attach your wire, and then the little part of the finding with the hole to string through. They're originally designed for seed beads, which is how we're going to use them today, but holy cow, as you know, cymbals are so versatile, and we love the way there's some outside of the box thinking from what we see from you guys. Leslie has written a wonderful tutorial that I'm going to follow step by step for you here with beautiful illustrations, nice and clear. And I want to point out that she has figured out that it's easier to start from what is the bottom of the earring and work your way towards the Sitia. So when you have an earring and you're working on it, you're going to be stitching it like this, from the tip towards the Sitia. It keeps it a little less fiddly. That's what I determined when I was making it. So good call, Leslie Pope. I have 2 needles. Once again, a 2-needle weave really helps to eliminate a lot of going through the thread path again and minimizes how you have to hide your thread. 2 size 12 needles, 24 inches of Fireline. Let's get started. So starting from what is the bottom, first of all, remember to check both holes or all holes in any multi-hole beads. Let's see if I can get this a little closer. There we go. So I've pre-checked my beads, and I'm going to put my first 3 gem duos in position. The tutorial refers to the top hole and the bottom hole. So the way it's oriented when you're working with it on your work surface, the top hole is what's facing away from you, and the bottom hole is closest towards you. Get this out of the way here. Okay. Let's move this up a little bit. All your comments are coming through on my screen right where I'm working. So I'm going to try to move this so that I can see it and you can see it too. Of course. Of course. But I love seeing your comments, and I know Leslie and Sir Stephen are watching, and they will try to answer your questions as you're following along. So I have my first 3 gem duos, and on 1 needle I'm going to string a 15 and then sew through the top, the bottom, and the top of these 3 gem duos. And I'm going to string another 15 and pull these to the middle of the thread. And when you work with 2-needle weave, you want to make sure that the pieces of thread coming out of your needle, the little tails, are equal length, so that you know that you have the right amount of thread to pull your beads to the middle. Okay. Make sure your beads are facing the right way. I'm going to switch my needles around. Gem duos have a flat bottom side, so you want to make sure that that's face down, and especially if you're working with the backlets like Leslie did in her samples here, you want to make sure that that pretty side is facing up. Okay. Now we're going to sew back with 1 needle. So my beads are in the middle of the thread, and I'm just going to hold my finger there so I know that I'm not going to pull my thread inadvertently. Now we're going to sew back through the 3 gem duos, and it's going to give us that little rivet that allows us to turn around. And we're going to go all the way back through the 3 gem duos and that first 15, like that. Pull it snug, make sure that 15 stays there. And with the needle that you were working with, you're now going to sew back through that 1 gem duo, reverse direction, and come out the other hole. So I'm sewing just back through that one, and reversing direction, sewing out. Out is to the outside of the piece you're working on, in is towards the center. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other needle. I'm going to sew back through the gem duos. I'm already coming out that 15. Back through the holes, through the 15 on the other side, and through that 1 gem duo, like that, and then reverse direction and sew out the hole. So now you have something that looks like this. It helps if you want to tighten this up to actually hold the little 15 on one side or the other and pull it and then tighten your threads. That'll help you a lot. It acts almost like a, I don't know what the engineering term would be. Not a pulley, but there you go. Alrighty. Now, with my 1 thread, I'm starting with my right. I'm going to pick up a 15, a gem duo, and a 15, and the gem duo is being picked up through the top hole. So it's going to form this nice V shape like the bottom part of the diamond. Pick up another 15. Sew back through the gem duo and the 15 in between the 2 gem duos and come out in the center. And pick up a true 2 that's going to sit right in the middle. Go through the other side, gem duo. So this is where we are right now. Now we're going to repeat a 15, a gem duo, and a 15 with the same thread, a 15, a gem duo, and a 15, and then we're going to sew back through the gem duo and the 15, or I should say the 15 and the gem duo. But we're not going to go through this little 15 right here, which I think I did by mistake. And we're going to reverse direction, go out the tip of the gem duo. Now we're going to repeat that with the other thread and crisscross through. So we're going to go through the beads that we just strung. Now we're going to go through that 15, the gem duo and the 15, the little, call them rivets on the outside, little rivet 15. And we're going to go all the way back through the beads that we just strung, including this 15, the gem duo, the true 2 fire polish. The gem duo, the 15. Through the other side, gem duo, through the 15 and that gem duo that we just came through, and we're going to reverse direction and sew out through that hole. So now we have the threads coming out on the side like that. Pretty cool. Time to add the kites. Pick up a 15, a kite. Oh, and by the way, I am using Jet Picasso gem duos, which have this wonderful, subtle, sort of marbleized texture, and the pale bronze gold kites, which are like a matte gold, so it plays the shiny against the matte. Okay, 15, kite wide end 15. So back through the kite and the 15 and the gem duo. So we have that starting on the side. Another true 2. Do we have it? Whoops, sorry, I forgot to add the other kite. I see Leslie Pope going, wait. All right, a 15 and a kite. Wide end. And again, I have pre-checked the holes of the beads that I'm using. Now I'm going to pick up a true 2. Another kite through the wide end, and a 15, and through the gem duo on the other side. So we've created that span across the little window. I'm going to pick up another 15 and a kite wide end and a 15 so that I have the same thing on this side that I have on the other side. Now I'm going to sew back through the kite, skipping that 15, and I'm going to reverse direction and come out the tip end of the kite. And pull it snug. So we have this. Reverse direction and go out through the tip of the kite like this. Pull it nice and snug. There's where we are so far. I put that needle down. I'm going to take my other thread and I'm going to go back through the thread path that we just stitched and do the same thing so I can come out the other side. So I want to make sure that I sew through all the beads, the 15, the kite, and the little side rivet 15. Make sure you sew through that bead. Back through the kite the 15, the gem duo, the 15, and you don't have to do it all at once. Take your time. The kite, the true 2, back through the holes that are already stitched, through the wide ends of the kite. Make sure that you don't get your thread snagged on anything. Keep going across the row, through the kite, the 15, the gem duo, the 15, the kite, and the 15. Keep going, and then we'll do all our turnaround. And you can see when I work that I do turn my work a lot in my hands to make it easy for me to get through the beads. But when you're working on something new, you should always return to the orientation that's shown in the tutorial, just in case, so you don't lose your place. So I've come all the way back through. I'm going to sew through that 15 on the outside, into the kite, and reversing direction, sew out through the tip. Here's where we add the Sitia component. Here's my gold component, and remember that you sew through, not the loop end, that's the top of your earring. You sew through the little band along the flat side of this cymbal element. All right, we're going to pick up a 15 and make our little turnaround rivet. Don't pick up another bead, just sew through the next kite. It's going to bring those tips together. Ta-da! Now we have a 15, the Sitia, the 15. So I've strung those, 15, the Sitia and the 15, and I'm going to sew through the other kites, both of them, and it'll pull those other tips together. Now I'm going to do my little rivet 15 and sew back into the piece, and I'm actually going to sew through all the beads that I just strung and through the kites enough to hold my thread in place while I do the exact same thing with the other needle sewing through the beads that we just added. So I'm going to make sure that I go through the 15 and into the piece. And actually, this is pretty done now. What you would do, here's your earring. You're going to weave your threads into the beadwork to secure them. So you're going to weave through as many times as you can. Feel that thread is snug. I actually make a little half hitch. If I'm coming out, I want to hide a little half hitch next to a 15 because that will help to keep it from sliding back through the bead that I just went through. So you can see that I'm coming out. And to make a half hitch, I'll pull the other thread out of the way. I'm just making a loop around an existing thread and then going through the loop of thread, and I'm making sure that that half hitch stays right there between my 15 and my kite. And now I can weave this back and forth and do the same thing with the other thread. And of course, you're going to put your ear wire right on that. So there you go. What do you think? I think these are pretty brill, actually. Leslie did a good job. Fun, easy, fast. You have a bazillion colors of kites and gem duos and all the wonderful 4 metal finishes to match up to your favorite flavors. Could you put one on as a pendant? Absolutely. But they're so nice as earrings. Like I said, they're just really lightweight And as always, you can find this whole family of cymbal metal elements and other quality BeadSmith beads, tools, and supplies from your favorite bead reseller. Show them some love. This pattern is already up on our I Love Beads site. Under the cymbals category, it's probably under kites and gem duos, and it's free. The tutorial's free. So download it and get that stuff from wherever you find your favorite beads. All right, you guys. Any questions? This was short and sweet. Thanks again to Leslie Pope for this wonderful design for Facebook Live. Be safe out there, and remember, we love beads. See ya.